So I've been building this bench for the podcast room. I wanted something simple, and of course nothing's ever simple, especially when you're custom making all the pieces. I put a couple of legs on the end and built a bridge in between them. I created a U shape here for this one. Came down to a like a dowel piece that's angled. That way it wouldn't go through too much of the wood. I'd have enough support. Everything would hold tight, good, strong, and firm. Kind of did the same thing over here. It was difficult to get them to line up so that it sits flat, and that seems to be the challenge every time. Of course, a lot of people use custom metal pieces that are exactly the same length every time, and then they just modify the wood to fit. This takes a little more time and a little more effort, I guess you'd say. Anyway, I've got another like a Y-shaped piece here to connect the two. Come off the end with a U-shape cutout down into another dowel that's into the base that holds that tight. I got a singular piece here that has 2 screws on the other end. And I had this curved piece that looked really interesting as a brace. This way, this piece here is really secure. I got 2 screws in here, and one there. 3-inch decking screws there. Holds everything really tight. This board, I had previously put a singular coat of clear on one side. This is obviously the underside. I'm going to put several coats on this side, and you'll see the color really pop whenever I do that. But this is going to be for the podcast room. My wife is insistent upon that I get a bench and not chairs. So I'm going to give it a shot because, you know, sometimes I don't know best. Sometimes I'm just winging it. I've been winging it all along, and so far it's turned out okay. But anyway, I'm going to put some clear on this, and we'll see what it looks like. All right? Stick around. All right, so here it is with a few coats of clear on it. It's looking mighty fine. Always the big cuts where it's flat soak up the stuff really quickly. So I actually have to put multiple layers on it. You can see this one's already drying out. But I like the look of it. I've coated it well. This also helps harden everything and keep it in place. It like cures the wood to each other, kind of like glue in a way, or paint. So I'm happy with it. I'm gonna let it dry. Once it dries, I may put a few more coats on, and then I'm gonna flip it over and do the other side, because that's the rule around here. When you think you're done, flip it over and do the other side. All right, so I flipped it over, sanded it real good. There were parts where I'd screwed every leg down. I had to recess the opening for the bolts because the new screws that I got are a little too bulky. I got to buy some flatter head screws so that it doesn't stick up as much. But I wanted to fill in the holes, that way it's not a big gaping hole, so when you sit on it, it's flat and not leaving little recessed marks on you. Anyway, I mixed up some Durhams real quick, filled in these little spots. I had a rough section over here, kind of patted up the side and did the other on top. I'm gonna let this air dry for a good day or so, and then I'll come out here, give it a good sanding, see if it needs another coat. That should do it though. And then I'm gonna start putting layers of the clear on it. It already has several layers on it, but this wood is very dry, so it's soaking it up pretty tight. On the underside of this, I did several layers, but it is got some white spots from it soaking up so fast. So anyway, just giving you an update. All right, I'm gonna call this project done. I have gone over the top with 1000 grit and wet sanded it and dried it, and it looks glass-like. It's smooth, which is good because your butt's gonna be on it when you sit down. It's gonna be a little bench. So anyway, I put multiple layers on the top and bottom. I'm gonna put it in the podcast room and see what it looks like. All right, it looks good in here. It's nice and flat and steady. I can slide it out so that 2 guests could sit on it. It doesn't have to be this direction. I can flip it around the other way. It just depends on what's comfortable. But we're gonna try this out. If it don't work, I'll make 2 chairs, but right now this is the plan. So I think it turned out really nice. I was gonna darken these, but my wife made a comment that the contrast in color kind of looks neat. I know a lot of people do stuff with metallic, but I didn't want to do that. because it costs way more money. So this is just a budget build. All it's got is my time in it.